Hey, what's up, YouTube? We're back today in the shop, and today we're going to dye the red or the yellow top marker on top of the steering wheel we looked at that I got from Motion Raceworks. So, as you can see, we got all our stuff here. The leather dye that I told you about, some tape and gloves so we don't get it all over us, and then we've got some paper towels and some wax and grease remover. So let me get you set up on the camera, and we'll see how this turns out and get it installed in the truck and show you the after effects. Okay, got you kind of set up here so we can see what's going, where you can see what's going on. So let's get this going. See what we can see how this is going to turn out. I also ordered the Grant GT, I don't know if you can see it, I'm just kind of holding it up, $31.96 for GM vehicles, the adapter kit to adapt it over to the S10. And here's the steering wheel. Let's get a little wax and grease remover to make sure this thing is clean. All right, now this shouldn't be a real long video. Well, it might be 10 or 15 minutes by the time we get the steering wheel out and get it installed. I should have waited about putting my gloves on, so I could have started the tape. The red probably won't hurt that black any, but I just want to tape it off. You never know what might happen. And again, I've got this this Fiebings Pro leather dye I got off Amazon. I'll put the link in the description. So you guys, if you like what you see here, if you might order one with you might have a blue truck. Of course, yellow and blue makes green. I don't know how well that would work out on a yellow top marker, but I don't know how well this red's going to work out, but we're going to try it. And you'll see it here first. And basically all I'm going to do, I've got some, I had a pack of model car brushes laying around in my shop, and basically that's what I'm going to use. Get one more good wipe down. So let's see how this is going to turn out. This stuff is pretty powerful stuff. Like I said, I've used this in the past. If you get it on you, you'll wear it off. It's pretty potent. Try to be careful and not get this stuff all over me. Alright, YouTube, you are going to get to see the first touchings of the red leather dye. Oh, that stuff's runny. See how it turns out. We'll try to put a light coat on it, but it's running off all over everything. Try to do several coats here. See how it turns out. I hope you can see that. I got the camera set up. So far it looks pretty good. A little blotchy, but I think that can be gotten out as I go. Just keep putting coats on it until I get it even all the way around to match the truck. And the shade of red that I really want to put on here, I want it pretty dark. Get it as dark red as we can get it. That is pretty blotchy. Let's see if we can take some of that out. Maybe wipe it a little bit. Even it out. Still a little bit yellow, but I think keep working with it here. We'll be good. I didn't know how this was going to work. I just assumed since this is a permanent dye that it would do exactly what I wanted it to do, but we'll see. And I'll follow up on a video after we get it in the truck and drive it, and my hands have been all over it, and let you know how it actually turned out. How, you know, I'll leave an after review, maybe several months after I get it done, and let you know how it holds up to sweat and cleaning it when you clean the interior with leather products or whatever you guys use. I use a leather product to clean all my plastics with, so we'll see how that holds up. Even my upholstery stuff that has any kind of texture like this, I usually don't clean steering wheels though. They get to where you can't hold them, they get slippery. But I'm really liking how this turned out. So tell me what you think. Comment below and see what you think about this. Let me know if you think this is a good idea, if I was kind of jumping the gun on just jumping all over this, putting it on. So I'm going to put a couple of coats on this, give it a little bit to dry, and then go back and give it a few more applications and see if I can get it to level out here. And I'll cut the camera back on after I get done and show you the after. I'll give you some close-ups of the after when I get complete. So stick around and you'll get to see what this looks like when we get done. I'll take the tape off of it, maybe the unveiling. Okay, YouTube, here's the unveiling of what the steering wheel leather dyeing that top marker looked like. I think it turned out pretty well. We'll see. I'm going to put it in the truck. I'm going to use this 3196 Grant installation kit. And if you see what's on the table behind it, that will tip you off as to what's going to be the next video. But for you guys that have never put in a steering wheel, I'm fixing to stick it in the truck, and the rest of this video will be an installation of the steering wheel inside the truck. I'm going to set you up inside. But this is the unveiling of how it turned out. It turned out well. But stick around if you want to see me put it in the truck, see what it looks like in the truck. If not, appreciate you guys for checking the video out, and I'm going to get over here to the truck and get you set up, and we'll get this thing in there. Okay guys, we're back in the truck. First thing we're going to do is disconnect the battery so that when you touch the horn button, it doesn't sound the horn. So we're going to pull this cap off, and it's nothing more than just snap it off. And you've got a terminal here. Mine just pulled off. Usually you have to use a little pick tool to push that off, so we're going to take that off. The next thing you can see, my steering wheel actually has a center marker, and I've straightened the wheels, but we're going to pop this keeper off. And I've got a screwdriver that I'm going to use, and see if I can get this off pretty quick without making this video too long. There we go. There's the keeper, if you can see it. The next thing you're going to need, I've got a 1/2 inch with a 13/16 socket. We're going to loosen this up. Sometimes you get lucky and you can pull these off. You can wiggle them a little bit and pull them off, but that's not going to happen. So, rather than going and buying a steering wheel puller, I made one. I had a couple of pieces of actually aluminum. It'd be better if it was steel. And I'm just going to stick some 5/16 threaded bolts into here. That's what these are. And I'm going to put this up against the center and see if we can pull it out. So let's give it a try. Let's see if this homemade puller works. You can also go down to like your local parts store, one of your big box parts stores. They usually rent these things, but I didn't see buying one for a one-time steering wheel pull. So we'll get these threaded down in there and see how well this homemade steering wheel puller works. If I can get my wrench down in there to turn it, and that's going to be the key. Okay. Get that centered on the steering wheel. Now, let me grab another wrench to hold this bolt here. I can't hold it. Now, we are moving slowly but surely, guys. Just bear with me. I tell you what, rather than dragging this out, let me get this steering wheel off. You can see the basics of how a steering wheel puller works. And we'll stick the steering wheel on and give you the final result. I should have just left you on, because it only took a couple more pulls, and there's the steering wheel is off. Now let's get our Grant GT installation kit, and we'll get the steering wheel on, and we'll show you what it looks like after we get it all installed. Okay, for those of you that have never installed a steering wheel, This next section is going to be just putting the steering wheel on. For those of you that just want to see the steering wheel on here, fast forward to the end and I'll show you what it looks like. But for those of you that haven't put on a steering wheel, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to look inside your kit and you're going to find there's 3 parts you need. There's going to be a spring, which goes down in your factory hole. You're going to find the wire that has a bell end connector on it. And then you're going to find this little shaft that has a little a dowel pin on it. What you want to do is feed the wire through that plastic dowel or spacer thing with a dowel on it, and this has a notch in it. You want to slide this down in there and you want to give it a half a turn to get it to line up inside of that dowel, just like that. Now that gives you your wire. Now what you want to do is find your hub adapter, and it is marked top. You want to slide your wire through the big hole. Make sure your wheels are straight first of all when you take your steering wheel off, but you've got a center marker on your steering shaft. Make sure that top is lined up with that. It may take a tooth, to turn it, but right there, my top marker and my center marker on my steering shaft is lined up. Now, Grant's going to tell you to route this around and through. If you have a standard steering wheel, that works fine, but with this Motion Raceworks, it's got this adapter here that has to go on there, so your wire's not going to be long enough. So what you got to do, there's a little cutout right here. You want to lay that wire down inside that cutout, run it through the big hole on your Grant adapter plate, and line your bolt holes up, just like that. Now, on your Motion Raceworks adapter, it goes right over the top, and it lines up with the holes. Now what we're going to do is we're going to put our bolts in, and there's going to be some pieces that come with your Grant steering wheel kit. Your horn adapter plate, or your horn plate where you hook your wire, you're not going to need that. The 3 bolts that come with it to install this originally with the steering wheel, you're not going to need those. With a Motion Raceworks steering wheel, and you're not going to need the spring for the horn button, because the Motion Raceworks comes with its own horn button assembly, and I'm going to show you there's a trick to this when we get it put together. So let's get our bolts in right quick. If I can do this quickly, shouldn't be that hard of a challenge. And I looked up on the internet that the torque spec for the steering nut is 30 foot-pounds, and I told you guys I'm not going to put this thing on as a final installation because I'm going to pull it back off once I get the dash ready to go back in. If you guys haven't watched the dash video, I just posted it. It was my latest video, and I'm going to get, that'll make the interior look really clean, or make the steering wheel look even a lot better whenever we get all of that done. So that's when everything will start really coming together. It's amazing to me how you lay bolts down and they try to run off. I had everything laid in here, but it was actually in the wrench, so we'll get that one in. And again, this is not gonna be a complete install. I'm just gonna show you guys how to get this on here, and then we will show you what the final results is at the end. Again, if you're familiar with putting a steering wheel in, this is not going to benefit you, but for those guys that may have never did this before, this is step by step how to do that. Now we've got this on. Now again, your nut goes on, and you can tighten it now. Of course, torque all these bolts, and I didn't look in the paper to see if there's a torque spec, but this center nut here tightens to 30 foot-pounds. And then don't forget that you've got to put your clip that we took off. Your clip has to go back on there as well. And right here it is. And I'm not going to put that on just yet because, again, I'm going to take it back off. But once you get that on, Motion Raceworks has a cover, a nice cover that snaps on here. It's rubber. It doesn't actually snap. It just form fits around this to kind of take up the gap. And then you put your bolts in for your steering wheel. And the trick I'm going to show you on the wire is it's wired for, it's set up so you can wire it for a Ford or a Chevrolet. But on an S10, there's a certain post that you're going to use to make the horn work. And I'll get it all, I'll get all this buttoned up and I'll show you. It will take just a few more seconds. We'll have all these bolts in. And then we will hook the horn button up, hook up the battery, and see where we're at. Let's make sure these feel good before we run them down. I don't want to strip them. Yeah, those feel real good. Okay, I'll just run them down by hand. Like I said, I'm gonna take it back out anyway. But we'll get everything in place, kind of show you guys what it looks like. That is it. And now let's put the horn button in, and let me show you what you need to do for a Chevrolet with a Motion Raceworks horn button. This one actually came with its own horn button. And what you're going to do on a Ford, you're going to hook it to this one here, and your ground's going to go here. But on this particular setup for a Chevrolet, you're going to hook it on this bottom one, and then this is going to touch the metal inside of the steering wheel itself. You just snap this in there, and when we touch it, the horn will work when I hook the battery back up. So let me cut you off and hook the battery back up, and then we'll end the video. Okay guys, battery's hooked up, horn works, looks good. It'll look better when we get all the interior in there. But again, if you guys have a Ford and you stumbled across this video, you will have to hook your ground to here and pull this retaining clip out and cut it. This is in here for Chevrolets, and it's made to touch the inside of this wheel so that when you snap it back in and you get it all nice and buttoned up, your horn works. So if you guys like what I did here, again, all the part numbers for the Motion Raceworks steering wheel, the Grant installation kit, steering wheel installation kit, and the Fiebings dye will be in the description below. And what we'll do, again, if you wanted to change this to a blue or any other color, you could do that. But we'll see how this holds up, and I'll do a review maybe later when we get the truck running and get all the dash in it. Start getting it on the racetrack. We'll see how it holds up to sweaty hands and all that good stuff. So if you like this video, hit that like button, comment, subscribe, and thanks again for watching, guys. I really appreciate the support.
You're rolling up, Uber black Cadillac, high heel boots and a sexy body full of tats. Baby's bad, oh baby's hella bad. After her there ain't no coming back.